What are some warnings for anyone interested in your career field? CSI here. This is my short list. No, it's not like TV. Yes, you will have to touch dead bodies, warm ones, cold ones, stiff, loose, bloody, covered in vomit and human waste, the whole 9 yards. You will have to see and work with people who may not live beyond tomorrow. You will have to see and work with people who've been beaten within an inch of their life. Young and old, people are assholes to you even if you are not a cop. No, we don't have all those cool gadgets you see on TV to solve your case any quicker. You will testify in court and be scrutinized within an inch of your life, and it will give you serious imposter syndrome. Edit, because I forgot this big one. Police departments are open 24/7/365/6. You will work holidays, nights, get called in on days off, have a boatload of overtime. Edit number 2, typo, at work currently, so take that as you will lol. Security guard. The job itself might be alright, however everyone will judge you for being worthless. Co-workers will either stab you in the back or turn a blind eye. Management will treat you like disposable trash. Clients will assume you dropped out of school and have learning difficulties. Passerbys will make snide comments that over time eat away at your happiness. Nice day to be outside. Your job looks hard. Hard job, eh? Job seems tedious. Easy work then. Sometimes it's better when they just spit in your face. I had one instance where this guy decided he wanted to attack me while completely unprovoked. Didn't say anything to him. I went inside the building and locked the door for my own safety. Client questioned my customer service skills before the dude rammed himself into the building and started bashing the windows like some zombie apocalypse movie. There are some people that are the exception with working with them. But trust nobody and write your own reports, keep records, study part-time and GTFO. Journalism. Come join the oversubscribed sinking ship that pays less each year, and in exchange you'll get to work longer hours writing increasingly poorly funded articles, about increasingly asinine topics, that increasingly fewer people bother to read. It's not like in the movies. Teaching may seem like a very rewarding job, and it can be. But what people don't see are the hours of preparation for lessons that goes on behind the scenes. This combined with endless marking, paperwork, pointless staff meetings, bad behavior from both students and parents, can make teaching a very difficult profession, and you can burn out very easily. It doesn't surprise me something like 50% of new graduates leave within the first 5 years. If you play an instrument or sing, it can be very tempting, so say you'll pick up teaching on the side and make some extra money. First of all, building a studio is very difficult, unless you get super lucky and a teacher retires and gives you all their students. Students are not just going to fall in your lap. It takes a lot of passing around business cards, establishing connections. Secondly, just because you can play your instrument doesn't mean you can teach it. You also have to be proficient in the thing you're trying to teach. I've had many students who had previous teachers that could not teach, and they wasted so much time just running through pieces rather than teaching them techniques. I have also seen students who could outplay their teachers. Thirdly, you have to have your own library of pieces. You have to make game plans with students. You have to know what they're capable of at the level they are at. Students, especially older ones, come in with lofty goals of playing hard pieces. Don't just set the sheet music down in front of them and teach them the notes. Know your limits. If you don't know how to teach beginners, don't do it. If you aren't skilled enough to teach advanced high schoolers, don't do it. The biggest warning: parents. Parents are insane. They think their kid is special and can do no wrong. They won't make sure the kid is practicing. They won't pay you. They'll argue about maintenance on their kid's instrument. They will use you for babysitting. You must establish a contact with payment instructions and adhere to it, or you will get screwed out of money. It's fun to watch kids learn. It really is. Not every kid is a demon spawn. Not every student is terrible, but don't just think you'll teach on the side. It's not easy money. There's a very common misconception about aerospace that I would like to correct. Everyone thinks that aerospace is one of the most technologically advanced sectors because we build these amazing metal flying machines, defying gravity and manipulating the laws of physics. This is wrong. The Boeing 747 first flew in 1969, and was being designed as early as 1959. Airbus A300 series aircraft, A320, 340 and 380, all started in the 1970s. All these aircraft you see flying today may look sleek, but underneath all that aluminum and plastic is a world of old and outdated tech, and the reason for it all? Because it works. In aerospace, the cost of failure can be catastrophic. One failing critical part can bring an aircraft down with hundreds on board. So everything needs to be tried, tested, proved, validated and qualified to the nth degree before it can go on an aircraft. So just beware any budding engineers. The tech is old and the process is slow to modernize, all for the right reasons but still frustrating nonetheless. I worked as a professional animator for 15-20 years. What I wish I knew before I graduated: talent is only part of it. Excellent social skills and friends will get you much further than raw talent. Most studios want younger artists that can work like dogs, and who don't have pesky families to interfere with overtime. Once you hit your 40s, it becomes progressively harder to find work that goes double if you're female. You better be damn good with computers, and keep up to date with every program. People who know the programs get hired even if they're crappy artists. Don't even bother to apply at a union shop if you're not already a member. Be prepared to just work temp gigs. Full-time jobs with benefits are few and far between. Would I have entered the field if I knew all that then? Who the hell knows? It did have its moments. Transitioning from professor to private therapist. Professor academia is fun and all because the people are basically all insane. But then the university decides that tenure isn't worth it right now and you will just be a lecturer forever. Also, college kids are assholes. Therapist time effectively on second shift hours because I need people to get off their 9-5 jobs before they show up. So I work from 4:12 or so. If you got this far you'd know damn well what kind of cesspool you are going into. But the hours now ... Blay. In the auto body and paint industry, it is a well-known fact that in-job, hands-on experience, making mistakes, and learning from your peers is 100% so much more valuable than a tech school degree. I'm not saying you shouldn't do tech school. Hell, I did it for me mechanics. It was awesome. Look at it as a way to get the concepts established. You also have a much better chance of getting your foot in the door of a shop. If you are passionate about it, have a good attitude, and are willing to listen and learn from guys that have been doing it a while, you will flourish, and can earn pretty good coin. What I see is a lot is young dudes fresh out of tech school start at a shop thinking they know everything. Unfortunately, that is never the case. Ever. That kind of attitude won't get you far, and they usually don't last very long. I'm an academic, final year of literature PhD, and I write fiction. I'd say, everything takes way longer than you think. Things are slowly coming together for me. PhD going well, stacking up some publications, novel coming out next year, but it took a lot longer than I thought when I was starting out. I don't think this is a bad thing at all, but it's something to keep in mind to avoid discouragement early on. For example, I had a meeting 2 years ago about a chapter 1 was writing. Nothing came of it until last month. But now I'm potentially getting that chapter in a book, which is great news. Patience is key. I think this is probably applicable to many things in life, not just work. If you plan to be a graphic designer, illustrator, Be wary of your environment and who you spend time with. Individuals in this field will steal your ideas and accuse you for copying things, and clients will try to make you copy someone else's work. This field is chaotic, so be sure to know your rights and have everything in writing so you don't get screwed over. Marketing. Every supervisor ever thinks they know better than you. Every disgruntled boss who's mad that business isn't picking up will blame anything and everything but their facility, cleanliness, work ethic. Listen, a good marketing campaign, rare, can do wonders for a business. A bad one can sink it into the ground. Either way, if you get into marketing, unless you have friends in high places, expect people who have no idea what you do speaking down to you because they think they can do your job. Go ahead. Spend the money to print that borderline offensive graphic on your flyers, riddled with typos. I'll wait. Surprised there isn't a comment about a science career here. In short, after you finish your degree you will have no job security unless you get tenure. You will be highly pressured to publish, which leads to nice people being turned into monsters, and there is no guarantee you will have publishable results at the end of the project. Sometimes you will have a 20-30 hour work week, especially if your work involves a lab, and sometimes you will have a 60-hour work week. Be prepared to work a lot and end up having less results than the person next to you. Also, a PhD is pretty much a requirement nowadays. Since it's the only time you will have a 3-4 year contract too. Everyone and their mother has one. It all comes down to luck, lab funds and networking skills. Music, one of the most satisfying professions. However, bad pay, hard to get known, hard to secure gigs. People think because what you do is art, they shouldn't have to pay for it. You should try to innovate, as in my place at least, there are a lot of amateurs that use public relations to get ahead. Networking is key and I'm bad at it. Teaching, tutoring is usually unavoidable. It's the easiest thing to take up if you struggle with steady gigs. Working in the non-profit sector can be fulfilling and amazing, but you will never get paid what you're worth or anywhere close to it. You will most likely work long hours and have crappy benefits, and the for-profit sector will never take your skill set seriously and have trouble seeing how it translates to their corporation. People will also assume that you don't expect to be paid well and it's some type of sin to ask for decent compensation because you're helping the community. Mental health. Hope you're real cool with sex offenders. The institutionalization of mental health now means that every person with schizophrenia that falls through the cracks has a large criminal rap sheet, dual diagnoses of substance abuse, and a well-deserved hatred for a shit system that both locks you up against your will and dehumanizes you before kicking you back to the streets and allowing you the freedom to fail. Most of my colleagues have suffered grievous injuries. Not sure how I haven't been sucker punched yet. Knock on wood. Must be my sparkling optimism. Smile. Anyone who stomachs mental health and social work while legitimately trying to help the minority that actually have a chance to claw their way out of the system are absolute saints. If you want to do this, I suggest being a therapist or a nurse practitioner. Glad to be blessed enough to be retiring in my 30s soon. This field is kind of a mess and will remain so for the foreseeable future. Not fully in my field yet, but specifically public accounting. Most CPAs I see are miserable and work-life balance is very difficult to attain, especially at big firms. Busy seasons clock around a minimum of 55 per week, and my current manager said he'd been doing 60 hours week for 6 weeks straight, and that's not even the high-end. Bigger firms will require 60-80/week. All the schooling and testing for an average starting salary in the 50-60K range. You're better off getting a job in a different field or doing private accounting. Programmer. You will need to exercise, like proper get your ass to the gym exercise. Sitting 8 hours a day for work, and then choosing sitting-based hobbies is not good for your body. It's a recipe for getting fat, getting hemorrhoids, and letting the connective tissue at your joints go to waste. Also, your wrists will end up hurting. Being a bus driver is not for everyone, and if it's not your cup of tea, that's fine. My biggest piece of advice would be to not sweat the little things. If you let stuff get to you, like passengers ignoring or being rude to you, other drivers cutting you off, or armchair bus drivers telling you you're doing the job wrong when they've never even driven a U-Haul, you'll snap before the end of your first day. You have to let the bad roll off and soak up the good like a sponge, because there are people out there who, without you, would not have any other way of getting around. I take those moments of appreciation, those people who say hello and ask me how my day is as they get on, and say thank you and good night as they get off, and I store it. I keep it handy for when traffic is bad, when I'm 10 minutes down and I keep hitting every red light, or when somebody starts chesting up to me, copying an attitude and pretty much asking for an invitation to start a fight. If you can deal with these things and leave work at work, you'll make a great bus driver. But if not, best find something else. Stockbroker. You're going to need thick skin. Clients can be downright nasty to you, especially if they're experiencing issues with your trading platform. You realize pretty quick a good majority of these guys are straight up gambling addicts and will flip shit if they don't get their fix. Other than that, knowledge is your friend. You need to be always learning. The more you know, the more clients appreciate you. Be careful who you trust, because people are shady, especially if you're indie. There's shitty people in the industry and people who will want to make a quick buck off you if they don't throw you under the bus. So, be prepared for people who will buy your content just to upsell elsewhere or sell, distribute bootlegs of. A filmmaker I follow who lives and works in Japan made a post saying he found out that copies of his recent film are surfacing on Chinese bootleg sites, and he's only ever sold a few copies or gave them out to friends as of the post going up. If you're going to pirate something, do it to the big studios and companies who won't notice or miss it since they're swimming in cash. But don't cheat the little guy. That's so shitty. The sheer exhaustion involved in a day of teaching. I'm a secondary English teacher, and often newbies come in and make comments like, "At least you get to finish early, have holidays," and don't realize that teaching one class is as exhausting as running a meeting or giving a corporate presentation. Then you reset and do it for a bunch more classes that day. You're always on, and most of us have our brains fried by 4 p.m. when our meetings start. A colleague offered me a small promotion the other day, during the brain fright times, and stuck her hand out to shake. I looked at her outstretched palm and completely forgot what I was meant to do with it. I ended up slapping it lightly, like a seal. Engineering. At university you will learn many innovative methods and techniques. Once you graduate, these will be useless because many companies just want more of the same and resist anything new. New techniques are often viewed like witchcraft. Also, get used to being highly educated and highly productive with years of experience, and still get overtaken by a fresh graduates from a management school with zero real-life experience, because most engineering companies value administrators over engineers. Also, finance graduates and marketing graduates. I'm a DJ and I watch DJs quickly crash and burn because they are too cocky. There was one guy who came to play at a club with very little experience. I regularly DJ it, and I asked him where he likes to get his music, and he told me I'm better than all other DJs. I make my own remixes and edits and mashups because I don't play to the crowd, they play to me. I opened for him and brought a full house, 300 plus. Crowd. After he played for 30 minutes there was only 20 people left, and before there was 20 or so minutes left for the night, no one was on the dance floor for the rest of the night. Moral of the story: don't be cocky when you are a nobody. got a master's in history, and wanted to get my PhD. Academia for historians is in the gutter right now. You'll be lucky to get a part-time job with a university, with no benefits. I saw no benefit to another 4 years of school and paying more money, when it isn't likely you'll end up in a reasonable position anytime soon. Ended up in government. Pay is better, benefits are great.